Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Real Podcasters, the show where we talk all things movies, TV shows, video games, and a bunch of other things in no particular order. My name's Regan, and I'm joined once again by my disappointingly not hungover co-host, it's Dan.
Hi everyone, I'm not hungover.
Hi, Dan.
I was intending to be. I'm actually not hungover from a punk gig, and you'd expect me to be very hungover. I'm not in the slightest. And I've drunk quite a lot, and I'm not hungover, so whether or not I've just been spared this, and then the next time I go out or something like this, I'm just going to die, but, you know, allow it, I suppose. My throat's a bit hurty, because, you know, when you're down the front of a punk gig, you're naturally going to want to just scream your voice out, so yeah.
Not me.
Well, no, because you're just a social miscreant.
Well, yeah, I just don't really like people. I mean, like, I do. I like some people.
Yeah, me.
I just
me.
don't really do.
That's it.
I don't think I've ever... I think I've done like a music festival once. I've never done a gig, I don't think. Have I done a gig? I feel like I might have done one with you, but I don't know if it was for like a college thing. Or was that...
I don't even think that was like a gig. That was just like a music video.
Oh, I don't even know anymore. Okay, it was 3 or 4 years ago.
It was a while ago. It was 100 years ago.
No. Yeah. But yes, this week we'll be delving into one of the most successful video games of all time, Grand Theft Auto 5. 9 years this month since the original release of the game, which has been re-released about 67 million times.
And it shows that it's 9 years old.
Yeah, it does. We'll definitely get onto that. We've also got Grand Theft Auto Online to talk about, which is kind of changed everything that Rockstar was planning on doing. Again, to a fairly mixed response. There's a lot to talk about, and of course with the news this week about Grand Theft Auto 6 being leaked, we'll definitely be having a bit of a chat about that, only a little bit, because I don't care too much, surprisingly. But yeah, topic of discussion, Grand Theft Auto 5. Time codes are in the description if you do want to jump around a bit, as ever, but we are going to kick things off with Dan's stupid playlist, because I already know the minimum that he's watched, because he decided to tell me.
What's the minimum?
Well, the minimum was already beating my record, so you were on 45 according to your macro shot. I swear to God, if you're on 60...
Oh, no way. There's no way. Regan, I've watched... Well, playlist is 47.
Oh, so it's actually only 2... Oh, okay, so that's still stupid.
Stupid.
Okay, fine. Over to you, Dan.
I kind of done like this one a bit different with it being like a lot, so I just got like 3 highlighters. I got like a red one, a yellow and a green, like green being like the best ones, the yellow being okay, and like pink/red just being absolute smut.
That seems fair.
And to start off, it's absolute smut. The Mummy, the 2017 remake.
Oh, what the fuck? Like, I know.
Let me give an explanation into why I watched this. It was 6 o'clock in the morning. I woke up. I think I got about maybe 45 minutes in before I fell back asleep, and I'm just going to say I watched the film.
That seems fair.
Yeah.
I've done that in the past.
Yeah. I think I managed 45 minutes before my brain was like, yeah, this is terrible. Time to go to sleep now, Dan.
I gave it about 3 minutes and I was in the fucking cinema. Like, literally, I saw it in the cinema and I've never watched it since. Just no.
No.
Disappointing to say the least.
Not good. I don't know if you've heard of these films, Regan, but there are 2 films so far. I don't know how truthful the 3rd film is yet. It's kind of been rumoured. Creep 2. It's from 2017. I think both of these films are on Netflix, so if you want to check them out. Really unsettling films. And the funny thing is, this film is actually rated 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, I was like... I wouldn't exactly say it was 100%, like, I mean, I really enjoyed it. I think I gave it like a 4.5 out of 5, because it was just super unsettling. But yeah, I'd recommend checking them out, because I know like people are very mixed with found footagey stuff, but this one does something a bit different with it. Yeah, it's very simple, but like it's so creepy, hence the name, Creep. A rewatch of one of John Carpenter's best films, and no, it's not Halloween. No, it's not Halloween. No, it's not Halloween. The Thing from 1982.
Okay, I can work with that.
Oh, I like this film a lot.
I'm trying to think how much I do actually like, because I have only seen it the once. And, you know, it is certainly a classic, to say the least.
Yeah.
I do prefer it over Halloween, if I'm completely honest, but then, you know...
But then again, like, I've repeatedly told our audience of how misguided you truly are.
You can't say that, Danny. You aren't allowed to lie on the internet.
But, yeah, I think rewatching it, it's just that ever more better. I mean, the practical effects and stuff in that film are just marvellous, and why people hated this when it first came out baffles me. It really does baffle me. It's just terrifying. In all honesty, it's like one of the scariest films I've ever seen. Next up, we've got a continuation of Dying Light, this time with the following DLC, so this is like an add-on from the main campaign.
Oh, yeah.
Played through it, it's pretty good. A first time watch of this Spanish horror film on Shudder called Crystallize from 2017. It's okay.
I haven't been doing a lot of like Shudder watching. There hasn't been a lot that's been on there.
I've honestly, like this past week, Regan, I've just kind of went back on Shudder because I've kind of pied it off for a while, so I've just binged a lot of stuff on Shudder. So I was basically paying for the membership. I may as well use the membership.
Well, exactly, yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty good. And another one on Shudder. This is a film by George A. Romero, The Crazies from 1973.
That one is on my watch list. Apparently, that is quite good.
Ooh.
Oh, it's not. Ooh.
Look, I think it's alright. I just think that it's a little dry in places. Look, it does the job. Romero does the job with it. That's all I can really say, but I couldn't exactly score it more than a 3 out of 5 because it's just... Eh.
I'm assuming it's zombies again? I'm guessing.
Kinda. It's just like this...
Right.
The plot of it is basically there's this like bio-weapon that is released and it turns people into crazies. Like, they just turn psychopathic really and just go around killing people. Like, feral and stuff. I wouldn't say the zombies, it's definitely not zombies, like, because you have a very hard time believing that it's zombies, because it's definitely not. Infection kind of thing. But yeah, it's alright. Another one which is alright is Mulberry Street from 2008. Okay, the plot of this is basically mutant rats go around biting people and they turn into mutant rat human things.
Okay.
Yeah, it's different. We'll say that.
Sounds very, very interesting. Not really.
Number 8 is Beyond the Door from 1974. I'm pretty much in the minority with this thing. I just think this is kind of borrowing far too much from The Exorcist, because there's a lot of stuff that's very similar to The Exorcist.
I was gonna say, well, I mean, what year did you say it was?
1974.
Isn't that like the year after The Exorcist?
Yeah.
I think it was like 1973 or something.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can kind of see a lot of stuff borrowed from it, so I just thought, well, I know it's hard to do like original stuff, especially with like exorcisms and stuff, because you can only do so much with it anyway. But yeah, it's all right. Oh God, I've been just binging this. The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. I'm just chronically addicted. I've pumped a lot of hours into this. That's ridiculous. 2 weeks of this.
I can't get past this. I never have been able
I think some people can though, and some people don't,
Oh,
which
yeah,
is like
yeah, definitely.
very fair enough. Like, some people love it, some people don't. I think that's just always the way it's gonna be. A sort of demon comedy thing now with Night of the Demons from 1988.
Okay, look. I haven't seen the first one, but I have seen the second one.
Do you know what it is? I've seen the second one before I saw the first one, but that was many, many years ago.
I'm very, very baffled by it. It's got some weird shit in it. I think the bit that I just completely lost the plot with, I think, was the bathroom, and then the dancing. If you've seen the film, you know I'm not saying it out loud because it's just.
Yeah, the first one's equally as weird. It's just so weird. There's no other word to really describe it. It's just weird. Now, besides The Mummy being absolute smut on Netflix, I yet again found some more smut. Well, it's not bad smut, it's just okay smut.
It's alright smut.
Yeah. This was Valley of the Dead from 2020. This is like a Spanish zombie film. It's alright, but towards the end it just gets so silly.
Okay.
It kind of had me, and it's pretty obvious it's fairly low budget. And for a Netflix original as well, you thought that, they have absolutely millions of dollars to pump into something like this. Not really. It's pretty bland. It's basically... It turns out the Germans are responsible for, like, initiating a civil war in Spain or something, and zombies are involved. That's pretty much all you need to know.
I'd question as to why the Germans would go
I don't
Spain
know.
of all countries.
I don't know.
There is literally nothing in Spain beyond sand and a load of empty houses.
It's like during like a Spanish Civil War or something. I don't know. I just lost interest.
Spanish versus donkeys? I don't know.
A Dario Argento film, or however you say his name. I'm terrible pronunciation. This is Tenebrae from 1982. Basically like a murder mystery kind of horror thing.
Okay.
Basically involves a writer publishing a novel called Tenebrae, and it basically details murdering and things like this, and somebody takes it too literal and goes around killing people in fashion with the book. Good plot twist in it, must admit. I won't say more than that. It's pretty good, worth the time.
Okay.
Been a while since I've watched a short film, so I watched #Eat Pretty by Rebecca Culverhouse. Yeah, it's alright, just not a lot of substance to it for a short film. It's just like, and?
It just is.
Yeah, it's just there. As Drax would say, is.
Bloody Drax.
Yeah.
I miss Drax.
Oh, and now we return to the Smuttyverse with The Craft Legacy.
Ugh.
I don't know why I bothered.
I don't know why you bothered. I mean,
look, The Craft is fine. I don't think it's terrific. It did need a sequel. Like, when you have a sequel to a film that's not exactly brilliant to start with...
Isn't The Craft Legacy a reboot?
Yeah.
I could have sworn it was a reboot.
Actually, I think it might be a reboot. I don't know. I couldn't give it
was it
absolute
like a
toss. Yeah, I just didn't give a toss.
That seems fair.
No, it's just bad. It's
this is a disappointing playlist, to say the least.
Oh, well, we're not even halfway through it yet. We're at number 15 now. Demons 2. So, Dario Argento made the first one. Though he didn't direct the second one, I think he was involved in like the production side of it. Not as good. Not as good at all. It's entertaining, don't get me wrong, but it's just not as good as the first one. The first one is just nuts. You have to see it. It's just brilliant. And next up is... So I finished Dying Light, like story mode on normal and stuff like this, so naturally with any game you kind of go into the harder difficulties.
Not always, but okay.
I really dislike games now where you're forced to do things in order to progress properly within a game. So in Dying Light's case, once you get skill trees, okay? So you get survival, agility, and combat.
Strength.
Once you level up those, you unlock these things called legend points, and bearing in mind there are another 250 levels of legend points. And really the only way to progress with legend level XP is to play on nightmare difficulty, because it's a lot more rewarding in terms of XP. However, the excessively irritating and frustrating side of that is if you die, say, you get killed and you're about halfway through, like, I don't know, level 27 of legend points, right? So you've gained like 1 million XP or something. You get killed, you lose all of that.
Oh, useful then.
Yeah, so like, you've spent like 3 hours grinding up. You've lost like 1 million legend points, so you're just like, well, what's the point?
Yeah.
So I just... No. I don't like it. I think it was a stupid system. I've never understood, like, what's the point in putting on a nightmare mode if it's just too unforgiving? Like, I get games have to be challenging, but I like challenges where it's actually fun. It's not just grindy. So I just gave it like an okay rating. Like, it's not terrible, but it's not exactly fun either. It's just okay. So I'm kind of interested to see what the second game's like, because people are quite mixed on this. But people are saying like the story's better in the second game, and like it's just a bit of like, well, this is better, that's better, kind of thing. So I guess we're gonna see. I told myself I wouldn't go back to Stranger Things, and guess what I did?
Have you finished it?
No.
Well,
the first 3 episodes of season 4. So that is the Hellfire Club, Vecna's Curse, and the Monster and the Superhero.
I don't like the first episode. I think it's crap.
All I'll say is Eddie fucking Munson. For God's sake.
I can't say a word.
Yeah. I think because these are really long episodes, like these are feature film length episodes, so I'm just honestly going to take like maybe 3 episodes just building up, because there's no way I'm going to watch like an entire season in like 2 weeks. It's not going to happen.
Oh no, definitely not.
Whereas like the other ones are like 40 odd minutes, which is acceptable to me.
Yeah, acceptable.
I don't know if you've ever played this game, Regan, but have you ever heard of Rockstar's sort of... Well, some people say it's quite an underrated gem. I think it's just okay.
Bully.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bully. I've heard of Bully. I haven't played it.
I've played a little bit of it. It's very weird.
Well, I don't... Because at first I'm like, oh, do you just spend like a year in school with this kid? I'm thinking, oh, so is it like the old school Harry Potter games for the PS2 where you just spend
you know what it is? It really reminds me of that, but they're just... The exception being that Bully isn't as cursed as the Harry Potter PS1 and PS2 games.
Oh, I didn't mention the PS1. Like, blech.
Oh, I just want PS1 Hagrid as just my... Hello, Harry.
He looks like he's built like the Kingpin from Into the Spider-Verse. He's just like...
It's the fact he has no neck. He's just a mountain.
Exactly.
He is
literally the Kingpin.
He's a mountain. He's a pixelated mountain with a beard.
Oh, Hagrid.
We go to the Whoniverse now with Doctor Who Series 9, Episode 1, The Magician's Apprentice. Okay, yeah, pretty good. Episode 2, The Witcher's Familiar. I quite like that one. Okay. Episode 3, Under the Lake. Weird.
Yeah.
Before the Flood. Weird.
Also weird.
The Girl Who Died.
I'm spoiling so much of our thoughts in like a couple of weeks on this, but...
Episode 6, The Woman Who Lived. Shite. No.
Is this the one that you said in the messages?
Oh, no, like, we're going to get to this. That's why I'm getting through these very quickly, because I can't wait to spill my guts on this.
Well, that's interesting, because you said there were 2 of them.
Yeah, and so that is one. That is one.
So I've actually got one of them is wrong then. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Series 7, The Zygon Invasion. Yeah. Series 9, Episode 8, The Zygon Inversion.
Ooh, it's so different.
Yeah, fine. I think this is a series where this has got to be like the series with the most 2-parters in, surely.
Oh, yeah, deliberately.
Like, it's really got to be. Episode 9, Sleep No More. Okay. Yeah. Episode 10, Face the Raven. I like that one, surprisingly. I don't know why. I think it's just so quirky.
Really? Is it because Clara dies?
Or maybe it's just the fact she's killed by, like, the epitome of Edgar Allan's The
Raven. Yeah. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Surprisingly enough. No, the Blackbird, obviously.
I think we might have a common opinion on this one. Episode 11, Heaven Sent. I didn't like this one. I thought it was just average. It's not like part of the 2 bad ones that I said. Like, it's just okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of falling asleep.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Episode 12, Hellbent. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now we go on to the specials, which is Doctor Who, The Husbands of River Song. Oh, God. Yeah, I liked it. I hate to admit that. It's just silly as hell, but I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Now we get to it. The Return of Dr. Mysterio. I just think this was absolute fucking shite.
Okay.
If I want to watch shit superhero stuff, I'm going to go watch Wonder Woman 1984. Yeah, I went there.
Well, I mean, Wonder Woman 1984 is shite. So it isn't really like, yeah, I'm going there.
Like, I am just ashamed to have watched this. I was embarrassed for this. Like, who in their right mind decided to cross Doctor Who with, like, the Wish equivalent of Nightwing?
Does Nightwing even have a cape?
No.
Pretty certain it doesn't.
Exactly why it's the Wish equivalent of it. Oh, it's just so bad. Like, I feel so sorry for Peter Capaldi.
Yeah, that is something we will definitely be addressing, even in Series 8, I think, in terms of, like, Capaldi's casting as the Doctor and the performance. Especially in Series 8, there's actually quite a bit to talk about. Series 9, though, this is now shaped up to be even more interesting to talk about.
But you know what it is, though? Like, from the first moments of this kid eating like a gemstone, I just thought this is going to be just some smutty superhero flick, isn't it?
That seems fair.
And it was. And I hated it.
Okay.
Gave it a 1 star out of 5.
Oof, Jesus Christ.
Oh, I did not like it. I did not like it.
That is absolutely a hot take and a half.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus.
It is. The only reason why it's not half a star is because I just feel so sorry for Peter Capaldi having to be in that absolute piece of fecal matter.
Mm.
Ugh, now speaking of fecal matter.
There's a few of them.
She-Hulk, Episode 2, Superhuman Law.
Oh, you are way back, aren't you? Oh, yeah, because you only watched the first episode and kind of gave up, didn't you?
I've been way back. Yeah, it was good-ish. Episode 3, I will say, like, I've watched, like, from episode 2 to 5, and it goes good, okay, good, okay. So, I was going to watch episode 6, but I kind of forgot about it. So, episode 6 is kind of going to be the decider whether this is just okay or just scraping the boundaries of a 3 out of 5.
Right.
So, episode 3 was okay. That was the People versus Emil Blonsky with the stupid scene.
There's a few of them. Oh.
Yeah, that scene. Yeah, that scene. Yep, that scene. Episode 4, This Is Not Real Magic. This is obviously with Wong. I probably liked it a bit better because Wong was in it and I just find him hilarious.
I mean, Wong is like the MVP of this entire...
Oh yeah, like just when they're sat and they're waiting on Wong and he just like comes in, I just thought, oh my god, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Episode 5, Mean, Green and Straight Poured in These Jeans. Ugh, no. Nah.
Date night, whoop, whoop.
Nah.
Yeah.
No.
Waste of time. No.
Shoulda skipped. Something new on Shudder now, the 100 Scariest Horror Movie Moments of All Time, Season 1, Episode 1. These are really good. These are really, really good, actually. So it does like a countdown. I think it's like it just goes from like 101 to like, I think it's like 80 something in the first episode. Right. And the second one, it's like from whatever the first one was to something else.
60 or something,
yeah. But yeah, it's really good. And I'm a bit mortified Halloween hasn't shown up in yet, but you know, I guess there's still time.
That one was probably 102.
Ooh!
Oh, and of course I'm referring to the 2018 one. Because the original one is 103.
And again, our audience just needs to know how truly misguided you really are. Some music documentary stuff now. I watched a documentary on one of my favourite bands, Joy Division. This is kind of like a retelling of like the formation to the dissolving of the band. Really interesting.
Right.
Really interesting. A lot of interviews with band members, stuff like this, so it was done really well. Punk in London from 1977. It was done by a German filmmaker. There's not really anything too special about it. It's just kind of him with a camera, just videotaping bands. There's not really a lot of pizzazz in it, I guess. But it is from like 1977, so I suppose like the concentration was on the music rather than, so what do you think about this kind of thing? Now we go to We Summon the Darkness from 2019.
That's got Alexandra Daddario in it, doesn't it?
Yep.
I haven't seen it. I just know the poster.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I'm really noticing a trend with like this episode's one. It's like, they're all alright. Or they're just almost as shit.
I think this might be me totally caught up on director Rob Zombie's filmography for now, until The Monsters comes out. This was The Lords of Salem from 2012.
I don't know that one.
Witchy sort of stuff, pretty good. Pretty good. Quite a slow burner, but still pretty good. Now we go to episode 3 of 101 Scariest Horror Movie Moments of All Time. Again, no Halloween in it yet.
So it's just not in it at all. It's
well, maybe it'll be closer to the time, mention. Like it gets closer and closer to the number one spot. I wonder what the number one spot actually might be.
I'm going to say it might be, well, I'm going to guess it's probably something to do with The Exorcist.
Yeah, I think Exorcist is going to be quite high up. Yeah, definitely.
Maybe Jaws? Jaws might be on there, if that's classified.
I'm actually surprised that hasn't been in yet. I don't think Jaws has been in there yet either.
What about Alien? Has Alien rocked up?
Yes.
Shit. Okay.
We return to Assassin's Creed The Black Flag. I mean, again, not kind of just doing any story mode, just kind of going around pillaging and stuff.
Frolicking around.
Yeah. Though I ran into a very weird kind of bug. So, when you obviously damage a ship and you can board it?
Yeah.
Like, I boarded it and then, like, the whole screen just kind of went absolutely apeshit. Like, a schooner was kind of just going like... Yeah. That's just like, whoever's on that ship is now very dead.
I always like the one, I think is someone else had it, and you can see it on YouTube. It's got like a couple of million views. I think it's when they're trying to hit one of the legendary ships. It's the one with like the massive ram on the front, like or something.
Yeah.
And it just it stops and it just swings right around and slams into your ship and you're dead immediately. It was like, I don't think that's how water ships work. Spaceships, yes, but not
not pirate ships,
but not the water ones.
Yeah, I'm just kind of
drift,
mucking around with it. Really, I'm just kind of going through like all the naval forts to unlock more of the map and stuff. Because obviously, like you kind of need to destroy those forts to navigate around the map a bit better. Yeah, it's pretty good. Oh god, oh no. So, I mentioned a couple episodes ago that I was playing like the most mellow game ever, which was Slime Rancher.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Well, the new one came out. And I quote, a new wiggly adventure.
That sounds like this. Nah, that's like a euphemism.
I know, context matters.
Who wants a wiggly adventure?
I haven't played too much of it yet because I mean it did have quite a late release, especially on like for console users it was like a midnight release. For us PC users it was like 5 PM or something like that.
Oh, you poor thing.
I know. It's just like hence why I was playing Assassin's Creed for like most of the day. I was like, oh well, may as well. Yeah, pretty fun. And that is it. You'll be pleased to know all 47 things. I was only 3 away from 50.
Typical.
So I wonder what you've got. A 10.
10. I mean, look, I was away for like 4 days in Dundee, which of like the 3 like Scottish cities I've been to, like Edinburgh and Glasgow as well. Edinburgh's still at the fucking top. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I think Glasgow's better for shops, but Dundee was still nice. Plenty of bars.
I think Edinburgh is just kind of a bit of like both, isn't it? It's like the sightseeing and the shops.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But like Glasgow's just very like shopping kind of focused.
Now we had like a good like hour and a bit between trains, so we stopped up at the whiskey tour that's close to Edinburgh Castle, mostly because my girlfriend wanted to get some little gifts and stuff. I don't drink whiskey, as you can probably tell. Instead, I drink, and this episode of the Real Podcast is sponsored by Darkstar Brewing Company Skylab Zesty Session IPA. It's thoroughly average.
Yeah, we're not sponsored, by the way, just in case.
I failed the sponsor immediately. I'm like, yeah, it's all right.
No, I'm not a fan of IPAs and stuff like that. I think like stuff like that just makes you kind of ill.
Yeah, I'm starting to appreciate it a little bit more. I mean, I tend to go for lager stuff anyway. But we ended up in a BrewDog in Dundee, so there was plenty of choice there, and you know, reasonably priced. But anyway, we're not talking about Dundee.
No, this isn't the beer podcast.
No, I wouldn't do that. Maybe with my girlfriend, that'd be quite funny. Let's kick things off with a rewatch of Edge of Tomorrow from 2014, starring Thomas Cruise and Emily Blunt. Please tell me you've seen Edge of Tomorrow.
No.
Watch it. Like, honestly, the fact that this thing bombed is sad, because it's such a great film.
Do you know what it is? Like, amongst some of the films that bomb, there is an occasional gem within that bombardment of bombed films.
Oh, it's definitely this one. I mean, okay. First of all, Tom Cruise is funny in this. Like, he is he is legitimately funny. Mm-hmm. Like he's thrust into an alien invasion, and then he's killed.
Oh.
And then he wakes up again.
Right.
So it's actually a time loop. And because he's not really a soldier, he's having to train himself with Emily Blunt, who is absolutely badass in the film. She's absolutely terrific. I love her in this. Like, he's having to train himself up so that they can actually beat the aliens and stuff like that. It is. I mean, the third act goes a bit. It's nowhere near as good as the first two, but it's still a lot of fun. I know the word talks of a sequel for a while, but even Emily Blunt said more recently. I think it was on the Howard Stern show or something over in America. She was saying they can't really do a sequel because it's going to be too expensive, especially now after COVID.
Yeah,
and stuff.
I think with it being like a film that's bombed as well. I mean, they kind of said it with who I can't remember the bloody guy who Mike Flanagan directed Doctor Sleep.
Yes.
Yeah, because they were planning for it, but because it bombed, they just said, well, no. Like, I only know that because I think like loads of directors were interviewed for the 101 scariest horror movie moments. I think he might have been in there at some point.
Oh, how convenient.
Yeah.
Next up, weirdly, literally immediately after, Hitler, The Rise of Evil. Fuck it, I wasn't planning on watching this.
Right.
Well, this is from like secondary school days. We watched it I think it was in year 11.
Oh, yeah.
We were finally doing stuff on World War II, WW2.
Oh, yeah.
So you
gotta love secondary school history with the WW2 documentary.
Oh, yeah. And learning about the Vietnam War, but instead of learning about it, you just watched the Top Gear Vietnam special.
I can't say we watched that, but I think we watched like a bit of...
Oh, we did. It was beautiful.
I think we watched a bit of like Platoon or something like that.
Yeah, we watched Platoon, a tiny bit of Apocalypse Now, and I mean a tiny, tiny bit, and the Top Gear Vietnam special. Like, I don't know which I learned more from, probably.
But do you know what it is? I kind of remember the teacher skipping past the bit where they go to one of the villages and they obviously kill everyone there, but they skip the scene where the guy just starts bashing the other guy's head in.
We are talking about that scene in Platoon, not in the Top Gear.
Oh yeah, in Platoon.
When
oh yeah,
when
that
James
scene
Midge just like absolutely loses his shit. Like, call me slow one more time.
He just shoots them both, you know.
Oh Jesus! This is getting dark.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah,
On.
it's weird. It's weird reading behind the scenes of the Rise of Evil because it doesn't sound like it's very good behind the scenes. Like apparently it is based on a book, and the author basically disowned it like halfway through production because it changed a lot.
Right.
That being said, Robert Carlyle as Hitler is absolutely terrifying. Like he's got the mannerisms down spot on.
Okay.
Especially when he's first getting involved with like the party and stuff like that in Germany, and he's like properly shouting with like the hand gestures and everything, and it's like it is actually really scary in places because he does play that so well. And there's a way to say he plays the most evil man in history so well. But yeah, it was such a weird decision. Like, yeah, I'll watch Tom Cruise and then I'll watch Hitler,
The Rise of Evil,
Hitler for 2 hours. It's good though. I do actually like it. I feel like in that respect I'm in the minority for liking it because everyone else seems to really dislike it because it's not historically accurate. There we go. That's definitely a conversation to have. I also watched some Doctor Who over the past fortnight.
Oh, okay.
I also watched the Husbands of River Song, which is still one of the most baffling episodes.
Do you know what it is? I think it's the ending that just really baffles me.
Ending. You know what it is? The ending I love. Like, and I cried. Like, I do actually cry. I think it's beautiful. Also, I mean, you know...
I wouldn't exactly say it's like the ending of it. It's just sort of like when Yaz is just reconstructed. I mean, how? How?
Magic.
The dude is literally decapitated and put inside of a giant transformer thing. And he's reconstructed.
Nardole.
Oh, why do I call him Yaz?
I was going to say at first, like, Yaz is the 13th Doctor's companion. I'm pretty certain Yaz didn't start him. I mean, I certainly hope she didn't.
Yeah, it's whatever that dude's name is. I've totally forgot already.
Nardole.
Yes.
Let's just say that Nardole, he starts out, like, really annoying. But then you get to the Return of Dr. Mysterio, which I also watched, which I'll not talk too much about because we will be talking about that probably in the Series 10 one, because it counts as that.
Yeah.
All I'll say is that you giving this episode a 1 out of 5 is quite surprising, because I don't agree with you.
Yeah, I think you've given this like a 3 or something.
A 3.5. Like, I do actually think it's quite good. It's not great.
No, it's definitely not.
There's definitely bits that just don't work. That being said, I do like how it goes like old, because, you know, when you look behind the scenes, Stephen Moffat, who wrote the episode, he did talk about how he wanted to do less of a Christmas episode and something more harkening back to when the show's superhero films on like Christmas Day, so it would be like the Christopher Reeve Superman films and stuff like that, which this is very clearly similar to.
Oh yeah.
Also, Justin Chatwin's actually really good in this. And I was like, you were in Dragon Ball Evolution and War of the Worlds. Like, you really need to do some good. Yeah, it's actually quite good. The costume is terrible, though. Like, don't get us wrong. I think that's kind of by design. Like, it is very much like...
We want Nightwing, but we can't have Nightwing.
So instead we'll have Deerfeather.
We'll have Ghost, or whatever stupid name it is.
It's worse.
It's like the worst superhero ever. He just sits in the corner of a room going, woo.
The villains I also quite like. It's a shame they haven't done anything else with it. Spoilers, you're not going to get any more in Series 10. I'm assuming you haven't started Series 10.
No, I'm probably going to start it, like, this week.
So how much do you actually know about Series 10?
Not a lot, because I haven't watched a single thing from Series 10, whereas 9, I've kind of watched the occasional ones. Like The Witch is Familiar, I've 100% definitely watched in the past before. Because I just remember laughing very hard at the very incapacitated Davros just squirming on the floor.
Oh, Davros.
And just Peter Capaldi whizzing around in a Dalek chair.
Yeah, there's bits of... Well, we'll get to that. Yeah, I just figured I'd check because I have watched the entirety of Series 10. Both, you know, all the specials, episode 1, all the way to Capaldi's final episode, which I've said my fair share of in the past, so you can look forward to my thoughts on that pile of garbage. So yeah, I'll not spoil anything for Series 10, but genuinely, Series 10 is one that I have always really, really liked. But then I also quite like quite a bit of Series 9, so that'll be quite interesting to talk about with you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, because no offense, you said some things in that bit when you talked Series 9, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have a chat with you. I'm going to have to sit you down on the bottom step and say, right, Dan, I'm afraid that you... I don't know what you've been drinking. I don't know what else you've been watching.
Put it this way, one of those episodes, not the special one, surprisingly, I think it... Hold on, let me go back to the old piece of paper here. Let's see.
Wasn't it The Woman Who Lived?
It was the really weird one where it's just Peter Capaldi with, like, the weird fly creature thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I paused that about 5 or 6 times to go make cups of tea because I was just so sick of watching that thing, man.
Very interesting.
Yeah, but...
Very interesting.
And The Woman Who Lived as well, like... More will be said.
Yeah, there will be. Finish off the rest of Horrible History Series 5, episode 4 to 12. So that's done. I know there's other seasons of the show. Nah, not going to bother. They aren't in it, so I don't care.
Yeah, because they change up like the cast and everything, don't they? So
yeah, there's just like a lot of like celebrity ones.
Yeah.
So I don't care after that. I know some of them are still vaguely involved, but no thanks. I've already seen bits and bobs and I'm like, this is terrible. Just terrible.
Terrible.
Yeah. Let's see. We've got Jonathan Creek Series 1, Episode 5. Random watch. I still really like this. Like, I'm so glad I started watching it. Alan Davies still actually really works in like a dramatic role, even when he's being funny with his like silly QI hair and his long coat. Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. The Return of Michael Mybrows. I should say it.
I can't believe it. Oh, I just could not believe that when you told me.
All I can say
Halloween
is
4.
one word. Eyebrows.
Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers' eyebrows. Yeah, right, for context, right, I'm going to explain this. So, for context, for people who haven't seen this sequel, with Halloween 3 being an absolute failure, they decided to reboot Halloween with Michael Myers returning again, because 3 has nothing to do with Michael Myers, it's just its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So they've rebooted this, obviously, but, you know, none of, like, John Carpenter or anything like that. I think John Carpenter's only input was for the title theme for Halloween 4's music.
Yeah.
That was it. That was it. Nothing else. And it really shows. Yeah,
it's better than Halloween 3, but that's just by default, frankly. It's still very uninteresting, and it's more scary when his eyebrows pop up.
I would have loved to have seen your face when Jamie Lloyd is having the nightmare and you just see Michael Myers' face when he just lifts up. I bet you were just like, eyebrows.
Do you know what it is? Right up until the end credits, I was like, I'm positive that Jamie Lee Curtis is in this. Mostly because like the lead girl, who by the way is actually really good in it.
Danielle Harris.
Does pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because she plays a daughter or something, or niece or whatever. And I'm like, she is going to pop up, isn't she? And then I got to the end and I was like, oh, never mind.
Nah, the only sort of Jamie Lee Curtis thing is pretty much just like a picture of Laurie Strode. That's it. That is all the Jamie Lee Curtis you're getting.
Yeah, I gave it a 2.5 out of 5. I think that's it's above Halloween 3, but I think it's still I actually had it below the 2018 Thing. I'm not going there. We're not going there this week. We're not going to reference the fact that I think it's very, very mid.
I can't wait till you get onto the sequel, the very rushed sequel that is Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers.
The Revenge of Michael Mybrows. I've told you this. Mybrows.
The Revenge of Michael Myers' double chin, more like.
Ugh, no, thank you. Well, I say that we are going to be talking about Halloween on a different podcast next month, so I'm going to have to. Because you just hate me. 2 episodes of She-Hulk, episode 5 and 6. I'm I had to really think, like, do I want to wish?
Do you know what it is? I think going back, I think this was like the episode with was let me go back to I think it's Emil Blonsky versus the People. And when he's proving the point of like, oh, I'm in total control of my transformation, they've just done what they've done to Hulk. Like, you had this pretty, like, interesting story of this guy cannot be normal because he turns into a rage monster and has no control over it. It's very just timid now.
There's a lot of characterization of a lot of the characters in the MCU now that's just sort of made me, like...
Happy, jolly, no consequences.
Yeah, basically. But, you know, it's fine, because we have Black Adam next month. The hierarchy of the comic book universe is about to change.
Yes.
That film is... If that film is better than Morbius... Whew, if Morbius is better than Black Adam...
Oh, God. Don't. God. No.
No.
Morbin time.
No. Speaking of The Rock, I will also briefly mention Rampage from 2018, starring...
oh, no, you didn't.
The Pebble Johnson. I've already seen this. I watched it for the first time last year, and I was like, this film, like, I actually gave it to my girlfriend for like contact, because she hated it. Because, you know, it was on in the hotel. There was nothing else on. I think it was between that and, oh Lord, what was it? I can't remember. It was something terrible. And I was like, look at the amount of money this Rampage made in 2018. It actually made more money than Doom did last year.
What?
I think I know which film I prefer. Yeah, like something like $30 or $40 million more. And I was like, it's a big monkey movie, but it's terrible.
Isn't it like based off a video game or something like this? Like...
Yeah, so in the video game, you've got 3 humans that get turned into giant animals.
Right.
And start wrecking up a city. This one's just 3 animals that turn into giant animals, and I'm like, you've actually wasted an opportunity.
3 animals turned into giant animals. Oh, no.
And also, I don't buy The Rock being a gorilla whisperer dude. I mean, like, he is shaped very much like a gorilla, and he's got the personality range of a gorilla. So it kind of works, but he has significantly less hair than a gorilla. He's very baby skin clean. It's just nothing there. No, it's shite, obviously. I'll tell you something that wasn't shite. 3,000 Years of Longing from one George Miller. This is currently in cinemas, starring Tilda Swinton and Idris Elba. I don't know if you've seen anything about this. I'm assuming not.
No, I know it's in cinema, though. That's about the extent of it.
So, it's a story of a woman played by Tilda Swinton who finds a mysterious old, like, crackly bowl, and she opens it, and a djinn pops out, played by Idris Elba, who's like, you need to give me 3 wishes that, you know, that, like, your heart desires. It's like the classic, you know, be careful what you wish for thing. Difference between is that Tilda Swinton's character is a professor of narratology, so stuff on stories. So she's like, I'm not doing that. Like, I know how it's gonna go. So instead, you're actually gonna tell me about why you were trapped in the bottle. And basically, it's like an hour and 50 minutes of them just talking. So think of it as like 12 Angry Men. It's literally just talker. Difference between it's still really damn good. Also, Tilda Swinton with a northern accent is like amazing. I love it immediately. And all of a sudden it made me think, you know what, you actually sound more like an older version of Jodie Whittaker. And then I'm thinking, oh my god, you as the 13th Doctor would be so much better. Spoilers.
Ooh, hot take.
I mean, hardly. I mean, Jesus, like, I would totally see Tilda Swinton as even the Doctor or the Master. That would be great. Like, I'd love that. But yes, I very much enjoyed that one. Because I've finished Horrible Histories, I'm now on to the Horrible Histories team, other TV show that they did, starting from 2019, which is Ghosts. Which is annoying because I started like coming up with this idea for like a little TV series, and it's basically this. So I was like, well, scrap that, just forget it. So you've got like a couple that inherit like this like massive mansion, and there's ghosts living in there because of course there is. They're all played by the cast of the Horrible Histories team. And then the woman who she has a fall, basically has like a brush with death, and now can see the ghosts, and it's just hilarious. One of them is a caveman, and it's beautiful. because he didn't die in the house, he died on the land. So they even say like him being there is based on a technicality. It's great. I really like it a lot. It's based on a technicality.
It's only seen the ghosts on a technicality. God's sake. It's like me getting a concussion and all of a sudden I can just speak and see ghosts. I mean, I do that anyway, basically. But you know.
Yeah, I know. We've got the new special from the Grand Tour, a Scandi flick. This is like old school Top Gear again, where it's just like them with a bunch of cars driving around causing chaos, frankly. Which I thought was quite fun. It's weird now with the Grand Tour stuff where I know everything in Top Gear was obviously scripted, but it felt more scripted in these ones. There's plenty of jokes that they've done before in this one. Good old James May has an accident, so he does a Richard Hammond, and I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty fucking brutal. And the fact he gets out of it is annoying, frankly.
It's annoying that he gets out of the accident.
Yeah.
God, that went dark.
And oh yeah, and then he has another one when he nearly drowns in a frozen lake. And I'm like, oh my God, this is savage. This, saying that, the body count is still lower than like the worst episodes of Doctor Who in that zero. But yeah, I thought it was alright. But I will mention, finally, my favourite thing, weirdly enough, was Inside Chernobyl with Ben Fogle, which is currently on Paramount+. I'm sure I've mentioned about Chernobyl before on this mini-series that the HBO did. I absolutely adore. It might be the best thing I've ever seen.
I keep seeing the score for it on vinyl.
The score is amazing.
It just knows. Every time I go to HMV, right, and I'm flicking through the soundtracks, it's always that I keep seeing.
Mm-hmm. No, it always is absolutely. It's a very unsettling score.
Yeah, I've heard bits and pieces of it, and I'm definitely going to start watching it. 100%.
Yeah,
I just really kind of want to finish Stranger Things off, but with it being so feckin' long...
Yeah, I think next year I'd quite like to talk about it at some point. So we'll have to
definitely.
But this was shot during COVID and released last year actually. And Ben Fogle, the presenter, spends a week in the exclusion zone. So you travel around Pripyat, you see some of the buildings. Obviously, of course, the amusement park that never happened. But you see more stuff. So like you see him teaming up with police officers that go through there 24 hours a day and night to find what they call stalkers. These are people that illegally break into the exclusion zone and just hang around in like the buildings, basically like set up shop for a few days. And it's quite weird, especially when like you go into the buildings and it's like all like, ravaged by time. And then there's just like a bottle of Lucozade that's just there, and you're like, I don't think the Soviets were using that in 1986, to be honest.
They're like talking about like the 1960s and that, and there's like a bottle of like Mountain Dew or something.
Lucozade, I love it. It's great.
In Soviet Russia, Lucozade, drink you.
Oh, I mean, I could probably would. You're in Chernobyl. It'll probably mutate enough to do that.
Yeah, like the bottle just grows like a pair of tentacles and just.
Yeah. So he goes inside the control room for reactor number 4, but he also goes inside the massive arch that like the built over reactor 4. I don't know how much you actually know about Chernobyl stuff, and especially the way it is now. The entirety of reactor 4 is encased in a massive arch to try and like protect us because it's collapsing.
Yeah.
And he's able to go inside the arch, and he looks up at the exterior of the reactor, and he's like, "You've got 3 minutes. That's it. If you stay there any longer, it's gonna get lethal." And I'm like, that's absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
Like. And of course, like, there's plenty of the photos of like the elephant's foot, which is like molten lava that's like solidified underneath the reactor. It's a very well known photo.
Yeah.
It's like 200 seconds, you're dead.
Yeah.
Like you are dead in a week. So I mean, it does reaffirm how terrifying Chernobyl is, but that miniseries, if I'm going to reference it again, is just peak. It's incredible. Like, it's one of the rare things where every single episode is damn near perfect.
What can you, like, actually watch it on? Is it, like, Netflix or...?
I've got it on Blu-ray. I don't know if you can stream it anywhere. You can probably rent it on, like,
I'm thinking Prime,
But honestly, you might as well just buy it.
Yeah.
Because I'd be surprised if you dislike it because it's so...
Oh no, I'm quite interested in the Chernobyl disaster, so stuff like this.
Oh yeah. I've been for years. I
remember I watched this. I think it was something on telly while we were on holiday, like ages ago, and essentially it was just somebody who does like the tour of it.
Yeah.
And it just kind of like details like what they tour over and stuff like that. Like they go to the like the Ferris wheel, which is obviously a very known part of it, and they kind of just go through the buildings and stuff like that and seeing how decrepit they are. It's just fascinating. Like,
oh yeah, definitely. That's why, convenient enough, my favorite episode of Top Gear, if it wasn't, if I'm not counting a special, it's the one where they're in the Ukraine, which I suppose is topical to talk about now.
Yeah.
And it ends with them trying to run out of petrol, because if they don't, they're going to end up driving through the exclusion zone. And I was like, nah. No, that is the most terrifying thing I think you guys have ever done. And even just like, and you can hear them as like driving around, and you can just hear the Geiger counter going nuts.
Yeah.
And it's suddenly the Geiger counter is the most terrifying sound you've ever heard, and I've listened to you speak for the last 9 months.
Oh.
Yes, I compared.
I was gonna go with the whole like motion tracker from Alien Isolation, but that's just cruel.
Okay, in fairness, that one is also pretty terrifying, but also the footsteps of the alien.
And
I'm pretty certain the microphone didn't pick that bit up.
Okay, well there we go. That picked it up that time.
Dan's struggling to breathe apparently. As it turns out.
It's a xenomorph having an asthma attack. I can just see like little mouth appendage like going in and out.
And inside smaller mouth comes out an even smaller mouth.
It's like one of those like Russian like doll things, when like you lift up the lid and the smaller one, the smaller one, the smaller one, the smaller one, the smaller one. It's just different little smaller xenomorph mouths.
How to fix the Alien franchise using a Russian doll? You're on to something, Dan.
Yep. Here you go, 20th Century Fox.
And last one. It's just random because occasionally I like a little bit of comedy. One of Russell Howard's newest Netflix specials called Lubricant, as you do.
Nope.
Ever since watching Russell Howard's Good News, like when I was probably a bit too young, I just think he's absolutely hilarious, like I always have. And yeah, there's a few jokes in this that he's used before. But you know what it is? I still find him hilarious, frankly, because he just says it as is. Not maybe as like blunt as like someone like Ricky Gervais.
Yeah.
Who's very much like an acquired taste, to say the least. I would quite like to watch his TV show Afterlife. That's apparently really good.
Yeah, I've heard quite good things about that, surprisingly.
Yeah, kind of flickers back and forth. But yes, there we are. That's my... I don't even know how many it is. Probably 30 something or other. I didn't count this way because I wasn't going to beat the last one. I'm not going to beat yours. I'd rather beat you, in fairness.
God, this podcast has turned violent.
What are you talking about? It always ends in violence. Well, like verbal violence.
Verbal violence.
Yeah.
Can't bit a bit of VV.
Oh, yeah. Yes, that is my playlist for the fortnight. Luckily, every weekend now it's going to be just 1 week, so you cannot get 47 again. You just can't. And you
try me.
I'd rather not, frankly.
No, there's no way I'm going to get 47 in a week. It's not possible. It's not.
No,
I could probably do it if I just watched like Doctor Who, but I'm not willing to watch series 10 up until the See, I can't even utter his name. Like,
what's his name?
The shit era.
Oh, yeah. I am now at the point where I'm like, I'm gonna have to rewatch it, but I'm like, I'm really gonna have to pace myself. Because I'm like, I can't binge it. That's not possible.
No.
Although I think I did actually, when it actually was playing like week by week. I actually gave it up for a few weeks and then just binged. I think it was episode 4 to 6 or something. And I was like, wow, this is even more shit than I expected. Oh.
Yeah. Put it this way, you haven't exactly sold it to me on previous
Halloween,
episodes.
Dan. You haven't sold... Yeah, you haven't sold that to me in the slightest.
What are you talking about? Halloween Resurrection is just an impeccable masterpiece. Ridley Scott gave it a 5 out of... He didn't. He gave it a -5 out of 5.
I was going to say, I think he gave it 5 shits out of 5.
Yeah. 5 fecal matter covered pumpkins out of 5.
Yeah. But yes, so, as I said, that's it. Now, let's move on to one of the video games of all time, Grand Theft Auto 5. Mm-hmm. Now, we have mentioned this a few times. I mean, I know we started going back and forth on it a little bit a while ago. And when I got like an Xbox and I got on my internet sorted again after moving into my new house. And this was one of I think it was like the only thing that me and you played, and we played it quite religiously.
Yeah. And just every so often GTA tonight.
Yeah, it's just like, it's one of the grindiest things ever. But yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit. We'll talk about a little bit about the franchise prior. Mm-hmm. So I'd mentioned with me being in Dundee last weekend, and that's where the very first game in the series was developed, released in 1997. I don't think I ever played that one. I think I had a demo of the second one, but it was still the whole bird's eye view. I have
played like probably like 5 or 10 minutes worth of like the first one, and that was where like you could drive the trains, the little like subway things.
Oh god, yeah. Actually, in hindsight, maybe actually no, I don't think I did. I'm pretty certain.
And what you could do is you could like smash into another one and it would explode. It was just.
Does it actually? Wow.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
As you do.
Yeah, I never knew that until like I was shown it. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
GTA 2. I'm not too familiar with it. Maybe I've played a demo of it. I couldn't tell, to be honest.
Yeah, of course we got probably. I actually would say this is probably the most important game in the series, Grand Theft Auto 3 in 2001.
Oh yeah.
First 3D game in the series, like brought it down. I didn't really play it, quite frankly. I played a tiny amount of Vice City, and I mean like a tiny amount. I can always remember the opening bits when you're in the alleyway and you have to get onto the moped.
Oh god, that bloody scooter, mission.
The fagio. I'm like, like, yeah. This is how much of an influence that game had on me. Like for years, I legitimately thought that was what you called a moped. Because I was less than 10 years old. Because of course I was. Like I wasn't playing it when I was 18. Like
I think because it was my older brother who played like these games, so they were like fully complete. So I had like all the weapons and that, and I was just like messing around on the map. But I definitely played more Vice City than I did with 3, because I used to play the little RC Bandito games on Vice City with the little helicopters and stuff. It was just hilarious.
But then of course you've got, I would still say it's probably the best one of the franchise, GTA San Andreas in 2004.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Not counting the remastered shit we got last year, but we're not talking about that. I'm never talking about that.
I'll briefly mention it because I can kind of go in a bit more depth of that. But yeah, I'm definitely of the same opinion, Regan. Like I think San Andreas is always going to be the best GTA. Like
definitely,
without a doubt.
Even with the
it's just so fun.
Yeah, I can still remember, like, especially when I was playing it at that age, and you had all like the internet forums about how you could find Bigfoot when it was just a mod, and I was like, I'm actually going onto the PS2, waiting until it gets foggy, and going into the woods to try and find Bigfoot. And the only things you find is the spawning Glendales that are half broken and they just roll down the hill. Me and my brother always had this thing with that particular car. because we're both big on Harry Potter. I'm like, this car make it turquoise blue, and it looks identical to the flying car from
It does.
from Chamber of Secrets. And
do you know what it is? If you put on the flying car cheat with that, then you've got Harry Potter and the Chambers of Secrets. It was even better when you would follow the
train.
The train, yeah, the brown streak train.
And Area 69.
Oh,
beautiful.
It's just such a fun game. Like, I like the story mode. I just really like the arc of CJ. He starts with this gangster who comes back and then kind of disappears for a bit, and everything just goes to absolute hell.
Of course it does.
I really like it. I really like it.
I actually bought the entire like game guide to the game, but it was released before the game was. So it's got bits in it that aren't in the game. Like, it talks about how you can find the ATV tank thing, that's or like the SWAT tank that's at the very. It's you only see it in the final mission.
Yeah. You can acquire it, but you have to do like a glitch thing. Yeah.
No, you can't.
Nah,
you can't find it. I'm afraid. I do apologize. And it's so weird. I mean, it was fascinating to read. I don't own it anymore because I don't own the game anymore. You've got Grand Theft Auto 4 as well, which definitely took away a lot of this. A lot of the parody stuff.
So weird when you go from like quite clunky 3D, because let's face it, it is like at the time it was like revolutionary, but it's quite a clunky 3D game. Like you'd run someone over and they just like fall in like a very strange pose. I mean, who dies like that? But then like I remember getting 4 and like hitting someone, and like I was fascinated by the physics of it, because let's face it, that game has stupid physics.
It absolutely
most of my time on that game has just been going to the swing of death.
Yeah.
And just launching it.
Yeah. I never finished GTA 4. I played more of the online mode, which seems archaic now when you look at what happens with the new one. But I love the online for GTA 4. It's hilarious. Yeah. Like, everyone always stayed at the airport. The best version to play, though, was, because I had the complete edition, so I had the Lost and the Damned and the Baldigatoni. Doing online for Baldigatoni, you get the tank. And
you also get the buzzard as well. It was just so hilarious because you could just go around. It was
so OP. It was beautiful. But it was like old school multiplayer where like you can't rank up or anything. You don't unlock anything.
No,
it
was
turn
just
up as a
like
character and you just have
it
fun.
was get your friends, go to the airport and just mess on for like 5 or 6 hours. There was none of this like go get money, go grind now.
Yeah. Like, and I do actually quite enjoyed for that. I don't even know if
it was simple. Like, it was just simple.
Yeah,
it was simple and simple. Fun.
Yeah, but then of course you've got GTA 5, officially announced in like 2011 with that pretty amazing teaser trailer. Like, I can still remember watching that for the first time. I was like, this looks amazing.
Oh,
but nowadays it's like, it looks all right. It looks like a game.
All right.
So, like, in terms of like development for this game, like, it started pretty much as soon as GTA 4 was released in 2008. 3 years of developments, and initially every single sub-studio of Rockstar was working on this. They did so much research in Los Angeles, which is what Los Santos is mostly based on. Of course, as we say, we do see a return to Los Santos, and this one feels more like a proper world compared to San Andreas, where you just sort of it's people walking around.
It's quite limited in San Andreas. I think it's just very basic. But again, like this was a game from 2004, so you couldn't exactly expect.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like the depthness of 5.
Yeah. This game, of course, also does so far the only thing that Rockstar's done where it's had multiple protagonists. At least properly. I mean, Red Dead Redemption, the first one, did kind of toy with that, where you play as John Marston until the last hour, and then you play as his son, which people don't like. I don't mind, to be honest. It didn't bother us too much.
Yeah, I didn't mind.
Even if you inherit all of John Marston's clothes as Jack Marston, like, this is a bit weird, Jack. What are you doing?
These are my clothes now, Dad.
Yeah, the dust, of course. So of course you get Michael DeSanta. You've got Franklin Clinton, and you've got basically every single Grand Theft Auto player ever, Trevor Phillips. Who is absolutely a get. I mean, we'll talk about Trevor in a second, but he's absolutely the get out of jail free card. Because I think the game does a really good job of like, you know, it's very much like an ensemble. There's no like really main character. You could argue it's probably Franklin, I guess, because most of the game.
Yeah,
focuses on
I mean
him.
the game's a bit more centered around Franklin, isn't it? But still,
which I like. You know, he's no CJ, which I don't need. Even if you can dress him up almost like him. And there's a nice little Easter egg in one of the early missions when you're driving towards Grocery and there's a bunch of people on bikes riding away. And you're like, I see what you're doing. Mate.
I see what you did there, Rockstar. I see what you did there.
You're referencing a better game. Cheeky. Then you've got Michael, who I do actually really like Michael. I find him absolutely hilarious, frankly, at points when he's like, I want to settle down with my family. No, I don't. I just want to murder constantly. I love it. I love it.
Nah, it's always Trevor for me. I just absolutely love Trevor. I just love it when you just swap to like the characters and he's on a mountain somewhere in his underpants, high as a kite, and there's just a bunch of dead bikers.
Yeah.
And he's in like a dress or something, and you're like, what the fuck?
The one I always loved, because I do like the whole shifting between the three, the one I always loved the most was actually the Scooter Brothers one. Which in itself is a reference to an internet meme that happened with GTA 4 with a bunch of people who like ride me out and they're going, Scooter Brothers, we are Scooter Brothers. And they're like, okay, we'll put that in the game. I'm like, wow, I wasn't expecting you to do that. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful.
I think the one that gets me all the time, though, is the mission where Trevor just decides to go hijack a Merryweather plane. And the Merryweather people are like, you know, we're going to shoot you down. It's like, well, I'm just a lonely old farmer dusting my crops. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. But then obviously, you know, I mean, with this game, obviously the mission structure changes entirely and it's mostly focused on the heists, which of course we'll talk about a bit of when you get to the online mode, because there's things to say on that one. The heists in the story mode are actually a lot of fun. I do actually like them. Especially the last one. The last one is just epic, to say the least. Like, it's
even like both the ways you can do it, the subtle and the obvious ways, like they're still both so fun.
I like that as well. I like how it gives you the choice where, like, okay, you can pick the people, you can pick how you're gonna do it, you can pick how you go in and get out. I'm like, that's actually really clever, because you could have just had it just be like, oh, the computer's just going to decide it, because all the games would have done that, and you just sort of throw it in and then there you go.
Yeah.
But with this one, it does actually give you the freedom to be like, well, you could do it like this, and there's consequences if you do it badly.
And there's like consequences if you get like terrible crew and stuff like that. Like,
yeah.
Example being the jewelry store heist. I think it's the
first
one of the guys who gets it's the first heist you do, and I think it's like one of the gunmen. If you get the bad one, he gets sport bikes instead of dirt bikes, and he smashes into the wall, drops his loot, so you have to like actually drive over the loot to get it, but it's so annoying on a sport bike in that sewer because it's so difficult to control. Like, you've literally got to like scorpion grip the bum and thumbsticks to stop spinning out of control.
Freaking nuts, man, honestly. I mean, annoyingly, there's never been any like updates to the story mode since its release, which I know Rockstar initially said they were going to, but then online started making a lot of money, which I suppose we can address. So, it's weird. Like, no, it's not weird. It actually isn't. Obviously, there's been like 47 updates to the online mode of varying qualities. Like, some of them are just like, oh yeah, you've now got a Santa hat, or you've got a Halloween mask. Other times you've got like sports cars that cost $7 million because the cost of living crisis exists in Los Santos apparently as well.
I mean, clearly.
That's actually one of the things that people really hate, is the fact that they never bothered to like inflate the winnings you got from missions to like cover the fact that like every single car's now too expensive. Like the fact that like its version of a Mini is nearly $1 million. I'm like, fuck that. No, absolutely not.
I think when it first started off, it was pretty much like GTA 4. Like, you just went on with your friends and you just mucked about because there wasn't any of this like stupid stuff, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
I think it was just pretty fun to start with, despite like all of the really horrendously game-breaking bugs and stuff.
Yeah, did you play it from day one?
Oh yeah.
Because I did, and I can remember how difficult that was, where like for 3 days I was like I
even
have to keep
just
on changing
trying
my
to
character because it wouldn't work.
Even just trying to get online took a long time. And I mean, it's no better now, but by God.
Well, I mean, like, the load times are slightly better on the expanded and enhanced version. I don't recommend you do that. It was a bad call on my part. I shouldn't have done that. That being said, it's nice playing online in like 60 frames per second because it's nice and smooth. Because playing it on even on like the export PC version is shut up, shut up, Daniel. You know we're getting serious whenever I call you Daniel instead of Dan.
Yeah, I know.
It's my co-host. It's Daniel.
It's Daniel.
It's that one.
Daniel. It's Halloween.
It's just you, Daniel.
Junior. God, not again. Yeah, I definitely remember the character creation problem. Like, you'd spend like a solid 50 minutes like, yeah, that big looks amazing. Log on the next day. Create your character. Like,
yeah.
What?
For about 4 years, my character was hideous. Like, I hated him.
Do you know what it is? Because they didn't have like a pigmentation for like a white pigmentation. They only really had like sort of like tanned and ethnic. For some reason, there wasn't white. For some reason, like it was just sort of like ethnic. I was like, well, I guess my character's gonna have to be kind of like Asian for a little bit. I mean, it was ages until like we actually released like character creation. It was ages.
It is. I just hate the logistics of doing it. Where it's like, oh, you have to use like your parents and grandparents. I'm like, why? Like, you made it so complicated. Like, for Christ's sake, just treat it like bloody WWE when like you can create a character. Just do it like that.
Should have been like Saints Row where you can just make an absolute monstrosity.
Oh yeah, I did. I made mine look like freaking Ben Affleck. It was great. I'm very sorry he still is. He looks. I mean, like, it doesn't look like Ben Affleck. If I'm
maybe
honest.
We should mention like the updates in a kind of order, because I think that would maybe be a good thing to do because there's like so many updates. So
I haven't got them in like order. I mean, I can talk about like the big ones. Like, of course, when online was first announced, and they're like, oh yeah, we're going to put heists in, and it took them about a year and a half. It was about 2 years before they actually got it in. I didn't play them all. I don't even think I got to the point. I mean, I know I played quite a few with you, but I don't think I got to the point of even doing like the aircraft carrier one. Like, I think I've done like the end bits, but I've never done any setups for it because most time you would just go for like the big one, just like the final bit anyway. Yeah. Because you don't really want to do heists with random strangers. It's
it's not fun.
No, I didn't like it. I never liked it at all.
I mean, when they released the Beach Bum DLC, which was like the first free content thing, and again, it was nothing sort of special. They just introduced like a couple of free cars and a couple of game modes, but that was it, and that was fine. I believe after that was Last Team Standing, which was the introduction of the adversary mode, Last Team Standing.
I think it was actually the business update that was before that, actually.
I think it might have been business, actually.
Something like that. Yeah, and then you've got like the holiday themed ones like Valentine's Day, Halloween,
Valentine's Day Massacre or something like that.
Yeah, Valentine's Day Massacre or something. I actually really liked that one, mainly for the suits, because I really wanted some proper good looking suits, because playing it on the 360, and there was a weird thing, because like I'd always wear like a black suit, but it was always like really like blotchy. And it'd be like little bits of purple in it, and I'm like, what the fuck is this?
I think it's still no better, to be honest. Like, it's not as blotchy though on like PC and more enhanced consoles, but on the 360 that was just disgusting. I'd do anything to avoid watching like or even like having any black clothing in like older generations of GTA Online. I hated it. I'd wear like other stuff aside from black stuff because the pigmentation on it was just disgusting.
But yeah, I mean, for the most part, it was just like the little updates. Then you had, I don't know what you called it, but it was like the ones when you find you got to have like apartments that did all like the
the High Life update.
the High Life update, you got those, which was really nice. The more recent ones, it's like the executive thing. Executives and other criminals or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
So you got the ones that we still do. I mean, I've actually uninstalled the game. I was actually going to install it this week to play a little bit of it just for the sake of, because we're talking about it. I don't have any storage space for that anymore. So I'm like, well, I either get rid of Red Dead Redemption 2, which I am actually enjoying. So I was like, nah, just leave it. Nah, it's fine. I've played enough in my time to, give my full thoughts on this.
I think the biggest kind of DLC that was added in was, of course, the heist update. Because as you said, like, it was announced, and then it was like, well, where is it? 2 years later, it's like, oh yeah, it's here.
Like, ta-da! You actually exist.
I'm still in the opinion I've never kind of liked the vanilla heist. I just don't.
No, I don't.
It's
either.
annoying. It's annoying the fact that, like, after everything they've updated where you can do heists like on your Todd, they've never done anything to kind of like, okay, just go do these ones by yourself. Like, surely you could, because the other ones are harder. Like, why, Rockstar? Why?
Yeah, exactly.
It just doesn't make a lot of sense. And I think the only one that I ever like remotely enjoyed playing was Series A Funding, which was the one that Trevor did. And you basically just go around stealing drugs. That's about it.
Yeah, basically. I think probably the biggest release they've had in the last couple of years was definitely the what was it, the Cayo Perico heist or something?
Cayo Perico, yeah, that was the first introduction of, like, you could actually go do a heist by your lonesome self.
And we did that. I remember doing that with our very good friend Scott, who is not with us.
I'm just going to give our audience a good piece of that. Right, so we obviously set it all up and everything. We did the remaining setups, and there are a lot of setups for this, so...
Oh, there's a lot of them.
It took like nearly a day just to do them. So anyway, we get to the heist, we start it. We die numerous times because we're pretty shit at games.
I mean, yeah.
So anyway, we get to, where we're going to rob the guy. Took about 15 minutes to try even, like, hack the bloody door open. So then we, strudel down to the old vault room.
Strudel. Apple strudel.
And then our good friend Scott, he's, getting the secondary objectives, which of course is like the paintings, the cash, weed, whatever, like secondary kind of things to boost your cash and score up. And then all we hear is, guys, I'm stuck.
And he's literally frozen.
And he's T-posing in a wall.
Yeah.
Like,
I was like,
I just remember his, like, character just...
Yeah, just, like, a complete stone.
Yeah. It was like a weeping angel, except it just didn't move whenever you turned away.
Oh, Christ, it was like a weeping angel. Oh, if only.
Yeah, do you know what it is? Like, I played it quite recently when a couple of months ago, and it's still really stupidly OP.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like, the bit where the guy, whatever his name is, El Rubio or something like that, when he gets in the helicopter and he just starts firing on you, like, I guess he's got a chain gun and stuff with this, but it is just ridiculous how much it damages you. Like, you literally have to keep open the interaction menu with the snack thing and just spam snacks every time you get hit.
I do hate the fact that we did actually at one point, we kind of went off before we actually started to break into the house and deliberately went to the helicopter to blow it up before we actually got it, and it doesn't do anything. It doesn't blow up. I'm like, that is cheating.
So if anyone's thought about doing that, no, the helicopter is just somewhat invincible. It's made of, like, blooming titanium.
I'm thinking more like vibranium.
Yeah, it's made of, like, everything. It's just indestructible. You could throw, like, 1,000 sticky bombs in that thing and it wouldn't blow up. You could hit that thing with, like, 1,000 oppressor missiles and it still wouldn't blow up.
Speaking of the oppressor. Oh. Let's get into the very negative things. Bear in mind, you own the damn thing.
Not anymore, because obviously I started again, because on PC, you transfer from console to that, like, you can't transfer your thing over, so I don't have an oppressor anymore. I haven't played it in ages. I uninstalled it because I'm just so bored of it. So, as Regan has mentioned, we're going to now delve into the negative side of it.
I've watched it a lot.
I think from our kind of emphasis on just the negative side of it now, I'm just basically in the opinion that GT Online has become a cash grab game. It's basically pay to win.
Yeah, it is.
It's
it is literally a free.
We're going to release a DLC that has a new supercar that costs like 4.2 million. There's a new apartment that's like another billion. There's a new office you want. You know, it's going to cost 2 million, and then everything like decor in it and stuff like that's another million on top of it. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, you don't have enough. Well, you can just buy like a $69.99 shark card.
I mean, look, I'll be honest, saying, I mean, I'm sure you have as well, but I've definitely invested in those in the past.
I've invested in them when they've been on like really good sale. Like I got the Criminal Enterprises pack DLC thing, and you get like the Megalodon card with it or something. I think I got that for like 30 quid, down from like 75 or something like that. So I was like, well,
but it's also the fact like you'd get like $8 million, but you'd spend it immediately because you're only getting it because there's one thing you want to do, and then you realise, oh, I've just. I mean, you know, that's definitely a topic of discussion we could have at some point when it comes to microtransactions in modern gaming. But I think everyone's done it to death at this point. I mean, probably I still think like the worst offender was probably either that or Star Wars Battlefront 2. That one in particular was very. I mean, that got like proper lawsuits and court cases. People were trying to think, oh, is this actually classed as gambling? Because in a way it is. In some shape or form now it is with Grand Theft Auto because you've got the bloody casino. It is literal gambling.
Which you have to pay for. Like you have to literally sign up for a membership and everything like in game. And then if you want a penthouse, you're gonna have to spend like another like 3 million or something like that. It's just, it's so cash grabby. Like it just changed so drastically.
Mm-hmm.
Like it started kind of. I think it probably started with the Heist update, where they introduced a lot more properties and they were just really, really expensive. And then it just kind of went more supercars, and then it just became like military vehicles and stuff, like weaponized vehicles and stuff like this. So it just turned into like PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds Grand Theft Auto Edition.
Yeah, playing online with other people is like something absolutely terrifying. Because I mean, look, I was the sort of person that was literally on there to just honestly just drive around and just have fun, and then you see someone just sort of like fly past you, and you're like, okay, you've noticed, and then they stop, and you're like, great, okay, I'm gonna start running away, and then you've just got like the entirety of like the player count against you. Saying that though, it is kind of satisfying whenever you beat one of the trolls, and they're just like, crying and mourning into the headset and they start messaging you, and you're just like, mate, just no.
Yeah, you get some really toxic players in that game.
Yeah.
Like, really toxic players. Like, I just find it so funny. Like, they spend like hours upon hours griefing people. Then when they start getting griefed, it's not fair on them. Like, don't do it then.
Well, exactly.
But I think the thing that just really irked me was the introduction of the Oppressor. Not the Mark II, we're going to get to that yet. But when the first Oppressor came in, that was like Griefer's #1 vehicle at the time. Because it was like, oh, it's a bike that can fly and it has rockets. Who needs a jet? That thing was a pain in the ass. Like, it was terrible. And then when they announced the Mark II, which was just even worse because there was no cooldown on the fly limit, because obviously with it being a bike, the Mark I, like, you could fly for a bit, but then you'd have to, like, go on land to recharge the flight thing. The Mark II doesn't have any of that. It can just fly. It's fine.
Yeah.
It has countermeasures as well, which have supposedly been, like, nerfed in recent updates and stuff. No, it's still bad.
I haven't really noticed because, again, I haven't really gone on it.
Of Rockstar saying that they've done all these nerfs to stop griefing. No, it doesn't. Like, you've added in stuff from years and years of like adding more military stuff in. You're gonna have more griefers. It doesn't matter. You've created a toxic group of people who just go on that game to kill other people for no reason. Like, I get it's Grand Theft Auto, but for God's sake, like, what's the point of introducing all these, like, new features? Like, oh, yeah, you can own a weed business, but you have to sell it in a public lobby where you're probably going to get killed and you're going to lose, like, 4 hours worth of grinding money or something like that. Or, like, 4 hours worth of waiting to your business to replenish and stuff. It's just stupid.
Yeah.
Which is why I think this whole desperate maneuver of you can now do everything in a solo, like, invite-only lobby. It's just desperation because they know they've screwed it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because, I mean, that was one of the core reasons I just gave up playing, because it's just like, there's no point in even trying to do this. I mean, I know there was ways to, like, try and get around it by, like, changing, like, the NAT type.
Oh, yeah, that was the old school way of getting a solo public lobby. It would work like a you quickly exit to the settings dashboard. You check the NAT type, you go back into the game, and then like every player would just leave, and you'd have a lobby for a good couple of hours. Sometimes like for even a day if you were very lucky.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I miss those days.
I do, I do definitely.
Even if you can do it in like an invite-only lobby now, but like it's too little, too late now.
Yeah,
like, I've just lost all interest in the game because it's not fun. It's just Business Simulator 2022. It's like, go buy this business to get this. Yeah, it's just, it doesn't feel like Grand Theft Auto anymore. Like, I see Grand Theft Auto as a game where you just drive around and just mess on. There's none of this, like, you have a flying hover bike of doom.
Yeah, I kind of do it.
I just don't see the fun in it anymore.
So, I mean, overall, we're very positive on this game, as you can clearly tell. Of course, this week we did have the fairly, like substantial leak for Grand Theft Auto 6. I have seen a little bit of it here and there. Apparently, it was roughly 90 clips of the development of the game was leaked. So there are some confirmations. For one, it looks like it's going to be at least 2 protagonists, 1 man and 1 woman. It might be a bit like with Assassin's Creed Syndicate. There might be like twin brother and sisters.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about that. Yeah.
Yeah. It does basically confirm that it is going to be Vice City. That's going to be back. So I was like, okay, cool. How big is Miami? Cause
I mean, GTA Vice City was very, very small when you think back.
Yeah, they're going to have to like really enhance it this time. And as I say, like several hours and whatnot. I mean, even the FBI's gotten involved. And apparently the guy that did actually leak it was 17 years old. I'm like, that's not good if a 17-year-old has hacked into your systems. That is beautiful, frankly. But, you know, I have seen bits and bobs of this, but again, there's no point in looking at it really, because for one, it's very early days, so naturally it doesn't look too great.
I mean, it'd be like cutting room features, like it's probably stuff that's not even going to be in the game when it's like done.
There's also going to be a lot of like reused assets as well from GTA 5, because they're not going to, and seeing people's reaction were like, oh, the graphics don't look very good. I'm like, of course they don't, because there's no point in giving them beautiful graphics when they're in the development phase, because storage size is going to be disgusting. But it did lead to a lot of developers releasing footage from their games in early development stages, like Uncharted 4, which looks beautiful, you know, like in the final game, but looking at the development stuff, it looks very, very rough, and they're like, yeah, this is what happens in gaming. You complaining about it is completely pointless. Yeah. I mean, it's no Grand Theft Auto San Andreas in terms of the looks. It does look closer to something like GTA 4 or even like GTA 5 on the 360, frankly. But it has to be, because there's no point in,
it's just pointless, like adding like Nvidia, whatever graphic cards stuff is in a PC. I don't know what mine is. There's no point adding like a GeForce GTX to it yet.
I don't know what that is though. I just have an Intel Core i5 8th gen, whatever
it just sounds
the hell
all
that
fancy
is.
pants.
Yeah, I don't. So, I mean, we're probably still a couple of ways from GTA 6, but even if you do it, it's weird because you're going to have to downscale it from GTA 5 just to avoid, like, the backlash. Like, get rid of the futuristic stuff and completely retool the online. Like, I'm going to be completely honest. You should do it like Red Dead Online, but at least give that content updates, because that's the biggest issue right now, is the fact that because I can't remember the exact numbers, but I'm sure that like GTA Online still makes like billions of dollars of revenue, and I'm like, that is disgusting, frankly.
It does that because cash cards exist, and because it's just like the #1 griefing game. It's like you can send like your 12-year-old, like some 12-year-old American kid can just go buy an oppressor and just sit and grief you for hours on end because he's got nothing better to do with his life.
Yeah. And I'm fair like even like the game itself has still been in like the top 10 of sales for like years.
Oh yeah,
now.
it's ridiculous. It's 9 years old. Who would have thought like it would be doing so well? Like, yeah, good for Rockstar, but we want a new game. We're sick of playing this.
Yeah, I mean, like even the fact that I'm now comparing it to Red Dead 2, and I'm like, this does actually work quite well. And I've done like, I haven't done like a whole lot with the online mode just because, again, there's nothing really there. I do like the character customization a damn sight more in Red Dead than I do on Grand Theft Auto, to say the least.
Yeah.
It's far more intuitive, and also it looks better, frankly. But it's just for a game that I used to like legitimately love. Like I loved it so much when it first came out, and it's just snapped in half entirely. Which I feel like is probably like a similar thing for you.
Oh yeah. I mean, for someone who played it from day one and just sort of seeing it spiral into just some sort of like Rockstar's equivalent of PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds is just like... Because it basically is like a public session, it's just a battleground now. Like when it first came out, you go into a public session and yeah, you'd probably have one menace, but like at least it was like easy enough to deal with. Because you didn't have any of this like, oh, they can spawn like a flying hoverbike and just zip off and go to their like bunker and just drop an orbital strike on you. It's just so like it's just like a Rockstar's equivalent of like a Call of Duty game. Like it's just so it's not GTA.
Yeah, it's not really anymore. So I mean, fingers crossed for Grand Theft Auto 6, I guess. As I say, I'm not massive on it, but I think it's also because Rockstar hasn't really been in people's good books for a good few years now.
Oh yeah.
Both with the treatment of Red Dead, but obviously the remastered trilogy thing.
Oh, don't even get me started with that.
I
was actually going to mention about that.
It was on Game Pass.
Oh, so
I was not going to buy it.
I got San Andreas, the definitive edition. I didn't get Vice City or GTA 3. I got the definitive one because I loved San Andreas, so I was like, well, let's see what's happened.
And you finished it as well, didn't you?
Oh yeah,
oh,
yeah.
I didn't.
It's just absolutely disgusting. Like it's.
Oh yeah.
Put it this way, I think the PS2 version of San Andreas is just superior compared to like a modern day remaster of San Andreas. It's just awful. It just literally looks like a mobile knockoff.
Well, it's funny that you mention that because the people that actually do it, because it wasn't Rockstar that developed this.
Yeah, it was Grove Street Games, yeah.
That does the mobile remasters, and apparently a lot of the code came from that.
Yeah.
Which is why it doesn't work. I'll point you in the direction of a great video from Dark Space. They did a fairly substantial video on it, and I think they called it the Defective Edition. And I was like, that seems very, very fair. That being said, as much as I hate that thing, I don't blame the developers on that because the team that they had was tiny. I think it was like maybe 100, maybe less. I'm like trying to get all them and just like just remaster these for us, please. And a lot of it was just done with AI, and you can tell.
Oh yeah, you can
think
you can really tell that some of it is just coded in. Like there's not a lot of. I don't know. It's just a very clunky remaster. Yeah. I think like if someone asked me, would you recommend it? I'd say no. Just go play the original for Christ's sake.
Well, exactly, because I mean, especially now because they exist again because the word dropped entirely from like various stores, and then Rockstar put them back in because people were kicking off and rightfully so. So, obviously, if you're gonna play those, obviously play the originals. I'm pretty certain I don't own. I might do. I don't actually know which one I do actually own. If I do own the PS2 version, I do have a PS2, but it's trying to get it connected up to a modern day TV is like bloody playing like Sudoku, bloody blindfolded or something. Which, by the way, is a bad idea.
Yes.
But yeah, that is our pretty major thoughts on Grand Theft Auto 5 and Grand Theft Auto Online and Grand Theft Auto 6 and the defective edition of San Andreas. Basically just Grand Theft Auto in general because we wanted to talk about it. Yeah, we're still very mixed on it to say the least. But what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments if you want. Yeah. I mean, like you totally can if you want. I'm not going to force you, but please do. please. I'd like that. I'm like really subtle with this, just like please, comments, like,
please,
share,
please,
subscribe. Tell all your friends if you have any, or if you don't have any, make some friends and then tell them, and then lose them immediately. Or just subscribe to some other podcasts that we might like. Next week, because we are back next week, back to our scheduled program again, because there's no holidays this time. Better not be, Dan. Spoilers.
No.
Oh no. Okay, good. But yes, we'll be back every single Monday, whatever time it usually is. Next week we will be returning finally to the Doctor Who universe with Series 8. And my God, so somehow the Capaldi era is now the one I want to talk about the most. Mm-hmm. Mostly after what you've just said with Series 9, I'm like, oof. Yeah.
Dan.
Especially with one of them, I was like, oh my God. Like, we are.
You weren't expecting it. You weren't not expecting that.
And it wasn't even the return of Dr. Mysterio.
As Hagrid would say. I shouldn't have said that.
No, you shouldn't have said that. But yes, thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next week. But until then, it is goodbye from Dan.
Goodbye.
And it's goodbye from me. Goodbye.